Good morning, folks. How are you? Cut the music. Welcome to the Heroes Media Group Weekly Wrap Up here. Hey, guess what? I'm not Adam. Adam, my man, the boss, the big toe, the big fish, he is out and about right now spreading the good word. I believe. I don't even know. I don't know. It's too early. I haven't had enough social juice yet here in the form of coffee to get my brain fully 100% working completely. But you're stuck with me, the Temu version of Adam Bird. My name is Gene Campbell. I am the host of the Double S podcast here on the Heroes Media Group that airs every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern here on the HMG. And I am sitting in for Adam today, man, to help us wrap up a week. Personally, it's been a pretty good week, pretty productive, getting a lot of things done. How about you guys? How's this week been? It's we're going to finish strong today here on a Friday. We're going to push on through, and so yeah, it's been pretty good. Hopefully for you as well. You have found some successes out there, found some good opportunities and different things to keep you busy, keep you moving. Let's see here. Let's get all the technical stuff figured out here to make sure that we are airing and broadcasting in the right places here. So bear with me as we run through this and get all this good stuff. I'm giving people a chance also to connect up here. All right, got a couple of those. So yeah, man, like I said, how y'all been? How's your week going through there? Hopefully, throughout your week, you've had a chance to check out a lot of the great podcasts here on the HMG. It's been some awesome episodes, man, that have been dropping by fellow podcasters out there, my coworkers in the HMG. There's been some great shows, good content, lots of in-depth conversation, really digging into things, man. So if you haven't had a chance, go over check them out, Heroes Media Group, yeah. Get a rundown on some of those to check out some of the great stuff. There's Willis. That's right. What's up, Willis? How are you, buddy? Yep, Temu Adam. That's me. That's what you're stuck with today. My man from the Homefront Sit Rep. That's a show you need to check out. They have a couple different pods that come out from that. So check out Homefront Sit Rep. You will not be disappointed that you did that. All right, so we're looking there. Like I said, I'm just getting some of the technical stuff. You got folks understand we have a few podcasts that broadcast on this same deal here. So okay, there we go. Yep. All right, there we go. That you were laughing at the Temu Adam Bird? That's all right, man. That's all right. You know what? It's a wise man knows his limitations, and I am to some degree a wise man, at least in that regard. I know my limitations and where I shouldn't go. Hey, couple things here for those of you who are unaware, who have never checked out the Double S podcast. I'm going to say some things today that you might think are stupid. You might think, what is homie on? What's he doing? Just know that they're just my opinion only. You know, I'm not short of sharing that when I feel like it, but it doesn't change anything whatsoever out there with my view on others. I love everybody till they give me a reason not to, and that's usually how I try to perceive from things. That's pretty much what my show is all about as well. We talk about all kinds of range of different topics that we go through without worry. That's the whole point of the Double S. So. Yeah, it's what I try to bring to the weekly wrap up here to make sure. Like I was saying, just some fantastic shows, amazing content going off out there. Highly encourage you go check out Heroes Media Group from Facebook. Go check them out on YouTube. Check them out at on the webs and see all the great podcasts. There's something for everybody, man. Literally like a show almost every night going off there. Several of the main body. Podcast platforms have several different shows that show throughout the week there. So it's just an awesome, wondrous variety available to you out there. So definitely go check that out and get yourself in. I figure without further ado here, I don't have obviously I can't give you an update on HMG behind the scenes like Adam does and different things like that because I'm not privy to that. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and um, we're going to jump into some of the current events, some of the different things out there. One of the things I did want to mention is that this on the 28th, a couple days ago, yeah, it was the 28th, was the 40-year anniversary of the Challenger, um, the Space Shuttle Challenger explosion. 73 seconds after takeoff, seven brave astronauts lost their lives there. And for me, I was in seventh grade at the time. And I remember back in those days going to the the library to watch the takeoff. That's what we did at school. Is we were all interested in the Challenger and its mission. Plus, there was a teacher aboard, Krista McCollum, and so it was a pretty big deal. And yeah, so to watch that and witness that firsthand, that was that shook. I think it shook a nation, it shook the world, and I know it certainly impacted a lot of kids because I'm not alone. A lot of the schools and students were watching that when it unfolded, and to watch that tragedy unfold directly in front of you, you gotta remember the time when that was. That wasn't. I know in today's world, seeing horrific things on your screens, one of the many thousand, may not be such a big deal, but back then it was not common, right? At all. So it shook a lot of our youth there. For me, I know it planted seeds in my head about that certain type of person that would endanger their own well-being for the purpose of helping others and for advancing a bigger picture. That sacrifice piece. That's really what it instilled in me as a kid, and it started to shape my desires as to did I want to be a part of that? Did I want to try to help in that regard in some way, fashion, or form? And so yeah, it was pretty impactful. I shared a little post on my personal page on that and got a few of my good friends responded with that, kind of where they were, what they were doing. Hey, we got a few people coming in here. T-Dog, what's up? Lots of shoveling snow. Not for us out here, dog. I'm in Colorado. And I got to tell you, this has been the best winter ever. I hear people complaining about it. I'm like, you shut your pie hole. This has been a fantastic winter. I think I haven't had to shovel once for myself. Not once. Our sun is so ridiculously powerful out here. If I wait till like noon, the sun by that time melts it off my sidewalk. So it's like, yay! Yeah, I'm loving it because I'm over snow, man. I am completely done with it here. But I know other sections of the country are not so lucky. Y'all been getting blasted. My brother Brian Roman's down in Alabama talking about they were bracing for some wintry conditions coming down. I'm thinking, who flipped the weatherman on his head sending Alabama snow? That's not right. In Colorado, meanwhile, we got sunshine here. I think it hit 50 yesterday. I don't know. It's pretty crazy. T-Dog, where are you at? Where you're shoveling snow? That's Minnesota, right? Or did I get that wrong? If I remember who. I can barely remember names, let alone internet deals. What do we got here? Kenneth Sales. Good morning. Good morning, brother. How are you, man? Appreciate you tuning in. We're just we're gonna kind of limp our way through the weekly wrap up here. Adam left me some pretty copious notes, so y'all in good hands there. We'll go over a couple of these things here. We've got a lot of cool events coming up that you're going to want to stick around for that, for the events coming up. These are some of the coolest things, and HMG is going to be at many of these. And so Adam will be there. I would love if the stars would align that I could get the budget put together where I could come join Adam as part of the HMG to be there for some of these great events. If you can, definitely do so, especially if you're in a fellow podcast. Kentucky, T-Dog out in Kentucky, he says. Kentucky snow. Well, I guess that's not like horribly uncommon, is it, T-Dog, for Kentucky? I mean, you guys get some. I don't think not a lot is known about Kentucky, right? Not a lot of people talk about it so much other than a horse race. Willis, you're in Kentucky? I thought, Why did I think you get some? Send some of that snow down here to the Sedona area. David Gordon, appreciate you tuning in, brother. Awesome. Yeah, I was going to say, I know Veteran Cranks over there in Ohio. Yeah, it's been the weather's been really nuts, man. The way it's pushed down there. It's a Nino. I don't know which one it is. Nino. I'm not bilingual, so I can't tell you. Horses and bourbon. That's right. That's right. That's what they're known for. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and I'll be honest with you, T-Dog, that's as I'm looking around the country here, like, you know, where would be a pretty good place to escape to? Because of the fact that not many people talk about Kentucky, is why it's got my attention. I'm like, okay. Some of the other places that I thought I wanted to go, like everybody else got the same idea now. So everybody's like, there's this big exodus from Colorado and California and all these states of people getting the heck out of it and going to these areas. I know Tennessee's been beat up pretty heavy from a lot of us. Mid 60s in Arizona. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, I'll tell you what, if Arizona wasn't so brown, if it was a little more green, it'd have my attention. Yeah, just from the weather down there and the whole no daylight savings time maneuver, a lot of good stuff there. A lot of good stuff going on down there. But I've got to be around green. I need things to be alive around me. So I'm not a desert fan. And so unless there was a section of Arizona like that. Plus, I've heard stories like birds just dying on power lines in Arizona just from the heat. Just sitting there and cooking midair and, you know, sitting on the line and croaking just from the heat. I don't know if I could deal with that neither. All right, so I could just keep rambling like this forever. Let's not do that. Let's go ahead and get in. Let's wrap up some of the stuff that's going on here that we have running around out there. By the way, thank you so much, all you guys tuning in here for us here to join in. Colorado has a lot of legal green from what I hear. Yes, they do, T-Dog. Yes, we do. You know, and if I was a younger me, I'd be excited about that. Older me, I don't care. You know what my vice is? Right here. It's coffee, right? That's it. That's coffee. Well, I shouldn't say that. You'll see me here vaping a little bit. I do vape. I smoked for 28 years, and this helped me get rid of it. And if vaping offends somebody, y'all are tuned in to the wrong show. Yeah. So, anyway, we got that out the way. Thinking of moving to Florida inland. Yep. Florida be all right. I lived in Florida as a kid. Is it very, Kenneth says very green in northern Arizona. All right, dog. I got to get down there and take a peek at it because I like green. Green and alive. Water. Water. I'd like to be able to fish a good portion. I mean, I'll take December, January off, right? I'm cool with that. Let the fish rest. And then I want to get back busted on them come February all the way through. Yeah, for sure. So great conversations going on here in the comments. Appreciate you guys 100%, man. That is awesome stuff. Yes. And so now, Kenneth, you got me thinking I need to take a peek to northern Arizona here. So I'll be talking to the wife a little bit later thinking, hey, let's take a long weekend. It's not that far. Let's touch on some of the topics out there, shall we? And like I said, you're going to hear me throw out my opinion. I don't care if you agree with me or not, right? It's just opinion. Now, a lot of my opinions, to be honest with you, I try to formulate simply in the form of what is fact in front of me, and I don't make judgment. To a lot of degree, I'm kind of the worst nightmare for a lot of political parties because I'm not associated with any. I'm a centralist through and through. I don't put people or parties' ideology above the principles of life to me. I have a singular power in my life. And I don't try to put anything above that. I believe in following the prime example and following a good word to move through these things. So yeah, unfortunately, too many times the political parties, in my opinion, contradict that. So I'm not there. But let's talk on a couple of these things here. Here's the first one. And this one kind of will spin into a couple others. News article come down here. This looks like it's from the New York Post, but it says NYPD ordered to cut back on overtime under Zohran Mamdani, who vowed to slash the budget. And his statement was only the beginning. New York police department cops have been ordered to cut back on overtime, and what a rank and file fear is just the beginning under a far lefty mayor, Zoran Mamdani, which let's just be clear on this, Democratic Socialist, borderline communist, who campaigned on eliminating the department's entire overtime budget, the Post has learned. Officers have been told they need to reduce the extra time by 9 to 11 hours next month as part of a cost-cutting initiative, multiple sources reported on Friday. My gracious. So let's break this apart here. Unless you've been living underneath a rock in this country, you understand that in most major metropolis areas, if you ordered DoorDash and you called 911, you'd get your food first. Now, is this because of a lack of caring or inept, capabilities? No. What we know for a fact is that this is a lack of resources. Okay, our police departments and our officers across this country are no longer capable of really exercising any type of proactive work to help reduce crime before it happens. No, in fact, what they do is they live in a complete world of reactive response, that they have to respond to these things time and time and time again. So absolutely, if I were to think of how to save money running a city, let's start with one of the departments that is under-resourced and underfunded already to begin with. Let's start there. I'm sorry, folks. I have nothing nice to say. And unfortunately, there's one part of me that says, y'all elected it. Sounds like a FAFO moment to me. But in the other side of me starts to say, yeah, but to what degree? I mean, my wife posed a couple great questions when we were talking about this. Does the governor have some veto power if they get a mayor that's just unhinged and just not good? I mean, New York City's not like, Wellington, Colorado, right? It's not a small little town. It's a hub of this country. So much of our financial and government and political, structure pipes through New York City. I don't know, man. I just, I'm about that freedom piece, right? I'm about the freedom of choice. I'm about the freedom of expression. But when it comes to elected officials, it seems to me there's a draw line there, right? There's a pretty thick line in the sand. I heard the statement that socialism is simply communism without the guns, right? And this idea that seizing manufacturing and centralized housing and all this stuff is absurd. It doesn't even warrant, in my opinion, a conversation. It just doesn't. Okay, because it doesn't take much more than the common sense of a gnat to figure out that it doesn't work here. And it's counterintuitive to our constitutional republic, which is our framework, which is successful, which isn't going anywhere, right? So Kenneth thinks, it could be. I don't know anything about them out there. I know that at one time she seemed like she was kind of opposing some of the things he was saying. But I don't know. I don't follow it that close. Obviously I'm on the other side of the country here. So, but it does make you, I don't know, man, lots of questions for that stuff there. Here is the one so this is him delivering what he said he was going to. And people voted for this. So again, that's where that knee-jerk reaction of mine is like, FAFO, you wanted it. And now hopefully the rest of the country, but a lot of innocent people are going to pay the price for this idiotic train of thought. And just quite frankly, here's one that's going to upset some people. Lazy. I'm sorry. If the socialist idea to you sounds like the best way forward, you're lazy. That's my opinion. Dog, we get, we eat what we hunt. That's what this country has been founded upon, in my opinion. And if the opportunities are there. Now, are there some things that prevent? Yes, 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 yes. I get that. But as the overall, we get and we reap what we sow, right? And that's. I'm sorry, but I just think the democratic socialist approach is one of it doesn't matter what I sow. I should reap. Everybody should reap the same thing, which is absurd. If you've ever done government work, you'll understand that because there could be three of you, two of you work above and beyond. You work overtime. You're all on salary, so you're not paid overtime. But you work above and beyond. You go above and beyond every day. You do the work of three people, this and this, and then you got this other person who just barely toes the line. A lot of times drops below it, and it comes time for annual raises. Guess what? You all three get the same raise. Does that sound right to you? Anywhere in any fabric, does it sound right to you? Because if it does, you're probably Democratic Socialist. And that's what you want to see unfold. But being one of those folks, one of those three employees a long time ago, I can tell you it sucks. It really puts you in the frame of mind like, why am I killing myself when I don't need to? There's nothing at the end of this. There ain't no cheese at the end of this maze anymore. So yeah, you get a bunch of mice just hanging out, waiting for somebody to bring them cheese at that point. A little bit crazy. Excuse me. One of the other things that this guy, Mamdani, did that caught my attention, and then I actually saw some Democrats speak out against this because they also I want to make that sure that's clear as your local centrist, running right down the middle, who holds no patronage to either side. I call out pros and cons to both sides when I see it, and I was pretty impressed to see a few of the New York City Council Democrats come out against this here. But a while back, I'm not even going to mention her name and get into this here, but I can tell you if you look it up here, Mamdani has appointed to a part of it's a bureaucratic position within his group. He appointed an individual who has voiced her support of communism multiple times, tweeted things, said things to the tune of literally, in quotes, we need to elect more communists. And also, one of the most harshest ones that she fired out with, quite frankly, was that home ownership is the prime example of white supremacy. Okay, this is the person that he appointed into, I want to say is like a planning commission, housing planning commission. She was blocked from an appointment back in 2021 and blocked by many Democrats and Republicans. They all jumped in there and basically stopped this for her from being, because someone like some communist party or some socialist group, whatever, tried to prop her up to join, to be appointed to one of the panels. And that appointment was blocked by the people because they all believe she's no, you're free to have your personal opinions, but you don't need to be in government here running with that type of rhetoric and that type of mindset going into it. And Mamdani just recently, and all you got to do, Google this, Mamdani appoints communist, and you'll find her name. I think it's Williams is her last name or whatever, something like that. But yeah, it's there, and it's real. He put her in place, and so she's going into this here, and this is his team that he's starting to form around him as an appointment. That's where I start to say, yo, Gov, you seeing what's going on down here? You okay with this? I know the Feds got their eye on him. I know they're watching that real close. But who knows? I don't know. It sounds like a mess, but again, I have a feeling it's going to be one of those FAFO situations, especially with the cops and the department, our Leos getting their overtime cut. Through this whole thing, it's going to be a real sketchy situation. What I do pray for is the innocents and our law enforcement to be safe. You know what? I don't want to see anything because of this. And unfortunately, I know that that's, a far-reach thought. There are going to be consequences to this, and I just, I hope it's minimal. What do we got here? We're going to start seeing migration based on local politics and even bigger echo chambers on both sides. Yeah, absolutely. That's a vital That's a vital thought there, David. Here, what have we got? It's going to be pay a heavy price for enacting even a fraction of his plans. I agree 100%, David. I think they're going to find out rapidly that this is absurd and that um, money ain't for nothing, right? And it's you do the concept, like I said, the concept that I grew up with as a kid, and I grew up a single mom, very, very, very poor. We did not have a lot at all. Um, and it never felt that way. And what I watched was a single mother who'd work one, two jobs whenever she needed to put food and clean clothing. Right? We got what we earned. And I watched people around me in the same situation, in other situations. I watched them be lazy and get nothing, and I watched them work and bust their tail, work harder than I was willing to, and they succeeded beyond me. That's what this country is built on. That's the framework that we're built around. Is that we get now? Are there hurdles? Are there obstacles? Are there things outside of our control? Of as far as opportunity, are there faster pathways to get to this stuff? Are some people born with a silver spoon? Yep, all of that's still also true. The two can be true at the same time. I guess that's my point on this. And so this idea to go down this other path is just absurd. All right, let's move on. Let's see here. What do we have? Let's switch over to some of the paper that we have here. I would say, there's a lot of headlines that are bouncing around here, but maybe the one that is just like, really, dude, again. That's a great statement there, Damon. Yeah. California's lost close to 300,000 population in the last 18 months alone. Oh, and I have a feeling it's going to be even bigger. Colorado's starting to hit it now, too. People, the great exodus, right? Of people just realizing that. And I mean, see, David, now you got me pulled off in a tangent here because this is what I'm going to say. Imagine this for a second. I don't care if you're left or right. Okay. Put those to the side. If you can do that, put them to the side. Do a simple logical conclusion. If your state is in a situation, that you don't think is good, why would you purposely vote in people with the same foundational ideological background as the previous? Let me use Colorado. For 24 years, this state has been run at the governor level by a certain political party. For 24 years. And what we have watched is our once great state that was the envy of the West. People wanted to be here. We have watched now our affordability go out the window. We are like one of the top 5 least affordable places to live with very high income in this area, mind you. Our crime rate, we're in like the top 5. You start looking across the board. We have more regulations and taxes on crap. In like for me for fishing, in most cases, a lot of times it's more expensive for me to fish in my home state from a license and a registration standpoint than it is if I were to go to one of my neighboring states like, say, Kansas or Nebraska or Wyoming or New Mexico or whatever. It's actually the same price or cheaper for me to go fish out of state than it is to fish in my own state. And yet we have overpopulated reservoirs. We have state parks. This blows my friends away in the Midwest and in the East. Our state parks, it is not uncommon that during the summertime at say 10 a.m., 10:30, signs will go up saying no entry because the park is already at capacity. I'm talking like a Tuesday or a Wednesday in the summer. That's no joke. I've seen it firsthand. Been there, done that. And so this is what I'm getting at is if things aren't working, like another one of the things that I can attest to 100%, my truck pays the price every time, is our infrastructure is ass in this state. Our roads are garbage. You could be blindfolded with like Metallica blasting in your headset driving down the road, and I promise you, just from the feel alone, you'll tell when you leave Colorado and enter into Nebraska, Kansas, or Wyoming, because all of a sudden your truck or vehicle stops shaking all of a sudden. Our major highways are garbage. Our back roads in areas are garbage, comparatively speaking to the states that surround us, and just in general compared to what we have available to us. It's not a money issue; it's a priority issue, folks. Don't let them fool you. We need more taxes. We're already one of the highest tax states out there when it comes to the certain ridiculous areas. We don't need more taxes. We need priorities changed as far as what we want to spend money on. Anyway, okay, let's move on from that. Probably the biggest article that I've seen out there that was like really dog. Again, we're going to go through this. Congress fails to advance a funding deal. So guess what? A government shutdown is imminent. Basically, what this says is a funding package failed to advance on Thursday as Congress races to avoid a partial shutdown of the federal operations. The Senate voted 55 to 45 against moving forward with a group of 6 appropriation bills that would fund much of the government, such as DHS, State Health and Human Services, and Defense. Now, it wasn't just Dems that blocked it this time, right? There were some Republicans in there, a group of Republican senators that also blocked this. Ted Bunn, Ron Johnson, Tommy Tuberville, Mike Lee, Rand Paul, Rick Scott, and Ashley Moody. They voted against advancing the bill. Some of the senators are pushing to, they want to reshape the DHS funding bill itself, while others want deeper overall spending cuts. So the bottom line was the House of Representatives had already passed the combined spending bills, and then they left for recess, expecting the Senate to complete the process. However, the Senate blocked it and stopped it. So now here we are, and like the deadline's today, apparently, right? They got to get into this and get it figured out, or we're going to start seeing shutdown pieces again, and then we'll see temper tantrums and you said this and dysfunctional family. How do any of these fools stay married? That's what I want to know, because they do not know how to compromise. They do not know how to find common ground. Instead, they act like middle school kids, clenching their fist, gritting their teeth, and throwing a temper tantrum when they don't get their way, and they won't listen to anything otherwise. I'm talking about all sides, man. It's goofy stuff. Let's get to some of the comments here. What do we have? Let's see. Where's it going to hurt them the most is the House of Representatives, right? Right? Very, very true. What do we have here? Numerous blue states are going to lose multiple seats in Congress at the next census. I'll tell you, if you don't, that's a great topic, because that is 100% why there is such a high temperature on immigration. I've said this before. I have not met, and I'm not saying they're not out there, but I'm just saying that the numbers of people that some groups would think exist out there is just not true. I have not met anyone out there that is against immigration. All right, our country is immigrants. This is what founded our nation, as immigrants. What they're against is illegal and undocumented people, right? That's what they're against. And if you don't think for one moment that this is because of election numbers, then you're just not plugged in. Okay, you're fooling yourself. Somehow, somewhere in our I don't know if it's in our Constitution or not, but when the census numbers get reported, that's how they figure out jurisdictions, right, for elected officials. And somewhere there was an interpretation that basically claimed that they could count all people, regardless of status, meaning even non-citizens would be counted in the census. To me, that seems like the root of the issue right there. What in the hell are we counting vacationers and people that are not citizens or paying into this system? Why are they having any influence? That seems like a chink in our armor, right? Because if I want to jack up a place, well, all I'd have to do is inject 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, a million people into a given area, and I could really sway hey, who did that? Yeah, 100%. And so that's why there's such a big back of this, that to go attack this and get rid of them, so that it brings these numbers back in the census. So we'll see what comes out of that. But again, it's the whole you hate immigrants. No, I don't. I don't hate any of them. I dislike illegal folks that break the law. Don't think they should have a say in that kind of stuff. I think they should, especially when it comes to this, I think they should follow the legal path and come on in and be a contributing member to our society. You bet. Let's fire that up. Let's get her done. No problem there whatsoever. But when they can also come in here and do nothing except sway how our areas are centered out there, well, it makes it pretty easy that whoever says they're going to give them the most free stuff is going to get their vote, right? And get their maneuver. Anyway, we move on to a couple comments here. What do we have here? Non-informed voters plus non-registered illegal voters is a problem. Yeah, that's not untrue whatsoever. T-Dog, heard they reached a 2-week CR last night that is supposed to be voted on by the House. Oh, okay. Resulting in a shot. Oh, okay. Yep. Well, it'll dominate, right? It's another one of those coconut shell games. Hey, watch this as this goes on here, and don't pay attention to the other mess we got, figured out there. We've banned a concept of trying to attract useful talent to the country and dropped the concept of not allowing people in that are ultimately going to be draining the system. I feel that too, man. I feel that too, and it's that societal switch, right? That land of opportunity is what America used to be, claimed about, and now it just doesn't feel like that's a sentiment amongst our kids. But I'm also of the belief that it's not so far that it can't be fixed, and that's what my brain starts to go to is like, okay, we know we got a series of problems out there, right? So now how do we fix it? Where do we start? Number one, I personally think we got to protect our kids. I think that should be a number one source for many of us, whether we have children or not, is to make sure that the children of the next generation, as they're coming through here, stop getting bombarded with garbage. And let's make sure we're giving them the proper education. And as parents, we are doing our job, being active in their life, being active in their choices, and not letting this crap, right, get in the way. Quite frankly, it's way too easy to throw a tablet in a kid's hands and walk away and go do what you got to do. And I know it's not easy. I got 2 adult kids now, so when I raised my kids, it was a different time. But we still faced many of these beginnings of these challenges that parents face today here. Still required, working mom and dad both, and things of that nature. So I'm not absolved to that or ignorant to it, but having active parents, active fathers, active mothers that are involved in their kids' decisions, involved in their kids' school content, what's taking place, their kids' friends, who their kids hang out with. That is every bit of a parent's business and should be influenced and watched and monitored very closely. I agree with that 100%, that we see through there. Let's take a peek here. What do we have? Vlad Tepes had the best policy on immigration. If that is what I think it is, that's a little harsh. Yeah. Any rate, we'll jump past that. Let me see here. What do we have? All right. News across the world. Here's one. France says that it will now support the EU's designation of Iran's IRGC as a terrorist group. This is kind of a big deal. This is, I don't know. It's that, we acknowledge this. Now, what the hell are you going to do with that acknowledgement? That'll be the next thing. But the article reads, France has said that it now supports the European Union's push to designate Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps as a terrorist organization, reversing their earlier opposition to the move. In a statement shared on social media on Wednesday, French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot, I think I said that right. I speak English and bad English, so bear with me on that. He appeared to link the planned designation to the Iranian authorities' most recent crackdown on anti-governmental protest across that country. Established after the 1979 Islamic Revolution in Iran, the IRGC is a branch of the country's military that answers directly to the supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. It oversees the Iranian missile nuclear programs and plays a central role in Iran's defense as well as its foreign operations and influence in the wider region. There could be some big consequences that come out of that. I don't know if now that France is going to join, because the EU is pushing there. We've already designated that, I believe America has. So I'm not quite sure what. It's good to see France is getting on board, and not trying to play the neutral game anymore, that they're going to support on this. But it'll be curious to see what this designation does, what their involvement in this, what weight does that carry, that's out there. Mr. LaMonica, Rich LaMonica, how are you, my brother? Good to see you, man. Appreciate you tuning in there. I agree, David. It's about time that they jump on board. I mean, too many times you see a lot of these the European countries over there that just kind of sit on their hands a little bit. They wait to see what everybody else does. I used to teach kids. I coached for almost 20 years. And what I would tell you is that type of action where you wait for somebody else to make a move and then you decide based on what they're doing there, that's not leadership. All right. Unfortunately, leadership comes with consequences. Sometimes you make the right call, sometimes you don't, but at least you're making a call and you're moving forward. And if you're not doing any of those, then you're kind of a sheep. You're kind of a follower with that. So that's what I mean by this. Now that they see where everybody else is going, now they want to go with this. They're going to join in. I'd be curious to see how they frame that and what exactly, that has to do and what else it does out there. All right, man. So we've been babbling here and going through there. Let's get to some cool events, shall we? We got some good stuff. Adam is going to be one busy. I was going to do it, but I'm not going to. Busy fella. Looks like he's got quite a bit of stuff coming. The HMG will be at the NRA's Great American Outdoor Show, February 7th through the 15th in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Go over to the greatamericanoutdoorshow.org and you can get all the information there. Adam's going to be there. He's tried to get me there the past 2 years. I wish I could make a flight out there to go do that. And go check that out, because that would be, it's an epic show, I've been told and seen by more than just Adam. Adam loves it there. He loves going there. I know a few other people that have had a chance to go there, and they said it's something you have to. If you enjoy the outdoors, if you're a supporter of the 2A, and you have any love for all aspects of the outdoors, this is a show you got to get to. If you get a chance, find Adam, tell him Temu Adam sent you. Right? That's coming up again, February 7th through the 15th. For all you podcasters, social media influencers, people that have somewhat of an interest here in that general area, April 16th through the 18th, Military Creator Con. Get your tickets now. Use promo code HMG10 and you're going to get a discount at this bad boy. Use promo code HMG, as in Heroes Media Group, 10, and you're going to get a discount here. Head over to militarycreatorcon.com. I'm going to start throwing some of this stuff in the comments. How about we do that? Holy biscuits. Jiminy Christmas, Gene. Use the technology. All right, so here's the first one. Oop, it didn't copy. Is it going to paste? It's not going to paste either. What if we do this? We'll go here, we say copy, and then we'll go over here and we'll say paste. Nope, not going to let me do it. What in the Sam Hill is the beef there? No, thank you. No, thank you. All right, let's see if it does it now. Copy. Paste. Nope. No copy paste for you. Oh, there we go. Why was my keyboard work? My keyboard's dumb. So here's the Great American Outdoors. Try that one first. Bada bing, bada boom. There's the Great American Outdoors. Military Creator Con. Let's see. So that's February 7th. Now we'll put this one up here. Military Creator Con. We're going to copy that. We'll throw this in the comments here. Bada bing, bada boom. And Bob's your uncle. There it goes. April 16th to the 18th. Get your tickets there. Use promo code HMG10. You'll get a discount over there at the deal there. Sorry for the way that that pasted out. I'm new to keyboards and the internet. So yeah, those are a couple big events coming up here. If you have events that you want to share, throw them up in the comments here. If you got stuff that's coming up here that's outside of the normal purview there, throw it up there. I know Adam's going to be at those. And hopefully, you know, in the coming years here, even Temu Adam here might have a chance to come join him and meet some folks out there. We would absolutely love to do that. It's a great time of year for us in most cases to get out there because our season really doesn't kick into overdrive until like you know, I don't know, April, May. When May hits it, things get pretty crazy for us around here with the TPO and such, doing what we do. All right. New hero stories. This is something Adam started a while back here. This is a fantastic deal. These are heroes in your local community, okay? People that are serving others. Send your community heroes and a suggestion or somebody that you would like. The T-Dog just derailed me mid-sentence there. Does Temu, Adam, take 2 to 3 weeks to respond like anything else on Temu? I'll get back to you on that later in about 2 to 3 weeks. So yeah, new hero stories. Let's get back to that. Adam started this very cool concept here is you can nominate somebody that's making a difference in your local community. That's who we want to know. If you know of somebody, maybe they're not in your local community, but it's really cool if we get these from all around the country. To pop in here, people that are serving others, that are making a difference, that are going above and beyond, you know, in their walk of life, and they're influencing other folks and helping others, or they're setting the example, man. Send them over to Adam. All right, send them over to media@heroesmediagroup.com. I'm going to throw this in here. I'm going to put this in the comments with a little copy and paste action. Bada bing, bada boom. Send those over to Adam. Get them nominated up. Tell the story to Adam so he knows what's going on there. Send him into that media email there, and so we can get those stories out here and get that punched out. That's a super cool thing. I know I have nominated a couple people and thrown it over to Adam, and Adam's mentioned them and spoken about them on the show here. Once he gets a library big enough, I know that he wants to start doing that on the regular as we go through this. So. Yeah, definitely get that sent in there. All right, let's go ahead and get into the shows. Let me pull up that little page so I know what the heck we have going on. Scooby-Dooby-Doo. As I said, pretty much there's a show almost every single night on the HMG, and you can hit just about any and every topic, resources like crazy out there that you can get to and get going. So because it's the easiest low-hanging fruit, let's start with the Double S podcast on Sunday. We'll start with mine. So last Sunday we had Mr. Shane Kuhn, founder of Anglers in Action for Christ Bait Company. Shane is a man among men. You want to hear his story. You want to hear about the AAFC Bait Company and what his purpose is and how he moves forward. I am now a new proud member of that organization's promotional staff team. I've joined on board with them. They're helping us out with our nonprofit work that we're doing with the Patriot Borderlands Kayak Series. They're coming on board as a sponsor. I'm excited, man, to get out there with the kayak fishing in the outdoors, and to, as I learn more, to also help others maybe on their path towards exploring their faith. And starting their journey in a relationship. And so, yeah, man, it's a great deal. We had Shane on there, had an awesome interview with him. I love Shane, love what he stands for, love who he is, and what his organization and the people that are around him. They're a great group of people. Like I said, a man among men. Check that out there. We had that this Sunday. We have an OG from the kayak business coming in. Talk about a guy that's dedicated his life also to service, Mr. Marty Hughes. His resume speaks for itself. The guy's been doing this, like, he's one of the pioneers that helped put kayak fishing on the map, as a organized event out there. He's a very good friend of mine, and he's been a supporter of ours for many years. And so, yeah, we're excited to have Marty back on the show. We're going to talk about all the stuff. You want to talk about a dude that just keeps his pokers in about 92 different fires? He's a dude that's got all kinds of stuff going on there. So Marty's going to be back on the show with us. We're going to talk about all the cool stuff that he's got going on this Sunday. All right, let's move on to the next new show coming to the HMG, the Battle Talk Podcast, coming out. The Battle Talk Podcast, it's a platform for everyday service members to share their stories, why they answered the call to serve, the challenges that they faced while wearing the uniform, and what ultimately led them to transitioning out of the United States military. Each episode dives into life after service, exploring the struggles, growth, and purpose found beyond the ranks, and how each guest arrived at where they are today. So basically talking about their journey. The mission of the Battle Talk is to empower veterans, service members alike, to recognize the lasting value of their service and the strength that it brings to their continued journey. This sounds like a fantastic show. Brand new show that's going to be coming up. So stay tuned here to the HMG to find out when those shows are going to be coming through here. Mr. Gordon, we'll see you, brother. Work does beckon. Yes, you got to get going there. So thank you for tuning in, man. Appreciate you jumping on board with us here for the morning. Next up, the Disgruntled PM. In this episode this week of the Disgruntled PM, host Trevor Greenberg sits down with the PMP trainer Gabor Stram to deconstruct the upcoming transition to the PMBOK 8 and the reality of project management certifications in 2026. For all you project managers out there, this is a podcast you absolutely need to check out. Great content that goes through this. Gabor offers a provocative look at the industry, arguing that Agile, which is a methodology that they use, was strictly built for software efficiency, and that these hybrid project management remains a theoretical concept lacking a true best practice blueprint. You know what? I don't work in that world anymore. My wife does quite a bit. It's right at the heart of a lot of the stuff that she does. And I can tell you I'm really actually stoked for that episode. I can't wait to tune into that and see that one go through. I'm sure there's going to be some pretty awesome information in there. We already went over the Double S. Double S podcast, by the way, we're Sunday nights at 9 Eastern. And then you can watch us recorded at any time after that. All right, next up, Women of War. The Longest March, Legacy Leadership and the Unseen Strength of a Warrant Officer with Wendy Wayman. After over 40 years of active duty, Wendy Wayman retired as the longest continually serving active duty warrant officer in the United States Army. But this isn't just a story of longevity. It's a masterclass in resilience, technical mastery, and breaking barriers in some of the Army's most specialized and misunderstood ranks. In this episode, Wendy shares what it means to serve with unwavering commitment across decades of military transformation, from the Cold War to Operation Iraqi Freedom. Some of the topics they're going to talk about: her unlikely start in uniform at 17, the myth and reality of the warrant officer role, what it felt like to serve in a combat zone alongside her own children, pinning their ranks on them during deployment. Wow. That's going to be a good one. You want to check that one out for sure. I can't even imagine that. Serving alongside your kids. My gracious. All right. Next up, the Unbreakable Storm podcast. From playing small to speaking power, the rise of Dr. Cheryl Wood. In this electrifying episode of the Unbreakable Stories that rise, we sit down with Dr. Cheryl Wood, globally acclaimed keynote speaker, best-selling author, TEDx presenter, and the powerhouse founder of Global Speakers University. But behind the stage lights and all the accolades is a woman who built her empire from scratch and knows firsthand what it's like to climb from the trenches while the world only watches your triumph. Look at that. Nice. So that one, I've not had a chance to check out the Unbreakable Storm yet. That's one I've got to tune into. There's only so many hours, right, in the week. But that's the cool thing about the HMG, dude, is that you can always check in, and check out some of these great shows that they have out there, and you can always see the recorded audio versions, you name it, it's all out there. All right, this next one's a big one. The Vet SOS podcast, all right? This show, the Vet SOS, it has 4 different shows that are all within this here. Okay, you got the Military Effect, you got the Vet SOS, you got the Learning Lifeline, and the Scoop, right? So tune in to these here. So we'll run down these. The Military Effect, Hire Heroes USA. Employment is stability, and stability changes lives, highlighting the impact of employment on stability, purpose, and long-term success for veterans and spouses. On the Vet SOS, they have Vet Mentor AI. Not every veteran has a mentor, but technology can help close that gap. How AI is expanding access to mentorship, career clarity, and transition support for veterans who may not know where to start. Interesting use of AI there. The Learning Lifeline show has got Vanderbilt Bass Military Schools program. Education isn't just benefits, it's a force multiplier for veterans. A spotlight on how elite education and structured support helps veterans thrive in higher education and beyond. And then finally on the Scoop, they have Aaron Hudgens. Transition isn't an ending, it's a recalibration. A candid conversation on leadership mindset and navigating life after service with intention and purpose. Check out the Vet SOS podcast. A lot of great shows there that fire through there. All right, next up, Keep It Spiritually Simple. Pet connector and author of a memoir of a crazy cat lady, Kathy Boyer. Kathy Boyer is the author of a memoir of a crazy cat lady. Their chat is all about cats and dogs and her journey to being a psychic medium, helping many to communicate with living and passed over pets. Interesting. Yeah. All right, let's move on. The Strategic Veteran. In this episode, Corey Brown opens up about a losing brother in arms to suicide and how that loss forced him to confront everything that the uniform never actually prepared him for. After 16 years in the Army and the National Guard, Corey experienced the familiar spiral of identity loss, also broken tribe, and a silence that followed that so many veterans after service encounter. That pain became fuel for Eat Your Feelings, a project that's built around normalizing hard conversations about mental health through food, storytelling, and shared experience. This is a raw conversation about grief, suicide prevention, and transition, and why we should do something is meaningless without action, and how sitting at a table together just might save lives. The Strategic Veteran. Check out that podcast. I am telling you, if you want to see some content there that'll help change where everything sits for you, that's a great one to go check out. Of course, one of my faves here, the Homefront Sit Rep podcast. No rank, no filter, real talk on veteran life. Beyond the microphone, Pacho is also a licensed financial coach and motivational speaker dedicated to helping veterans and service members succeed in their transition from military to civilian life. His work centers around resilience, accountability, and empowerment, blending practical guidance with motivation and real-world perspective. Check that out there. The Homefront Sit Rep has fantastic shows that it puts out there. Always great guests that come on there. You definitely want to check that one out. All right, what do we got here? Every Monday at 2 p.m., that's Arizona Mountain Standard Time, the Arms Room goes off. They'll have Justin from MSW and Independence Training discussing why team-based training events are a critical part of your readiness. I'll tell you, man, especially in today's society, team-based organizational training is really suffering, right? I mean, these kids and today's society is brought up on personal growth, personal achievement. We've almost forgotten the team. So that the Arms Room, on Monday at 2 p.m. Arizona Mountain Standard Time. Check that one out. That should be a good one. Another one of my favorites, man, the Misfit Nation podcast. What happens after a working dog service ends? And the real battle begins. In this powerful episode, the Tuesday crew, the host welcomed Chris Bingham, federal law enforcement canine handler and lifelong partner of Canine Tambo, a decorated retired working dog who spent years protecting people and property at the highest levels of government. That should be awesome. I've been on the Tuesday crew myself. Those guys love them to death. That's a great time over there. Rich LaMonica and the Misfit Nation. Love that whole group. Those guys do some solid work. All right. Another favorite of mine is, you see, I got a lot of favorites here. Because flat out, dude, there's just some great podcasts on the HMG. And so, yeah, you want to check this out. We got your 6 at 6 with the People's Patriot Project every Sunday night, 6 p.m. Central. Dude, your Sunday evenings are covered. Check these guys out. You'll have, there's even another one that goes off there on Sunday, and then of the Double S to close out the night. Your Sundays are covered. On, what do we have here? We got your 6 at 6. On this episode, coming up, they share the thoughts and experiences of their guest, Trent Dilks, a fellow Minnesotan who opens up about both military and civilian journeys that he's taken. Trent reflects on the lessons learned along the way and shares the missions that he's been involved in. Work focused on supporting, elevating, and standing alongside veterans who need it the most. And on the music side, which they always have a musical guest, they're joined by Aaron Curtis Owen, who takes us through his time in the military and the road that followed. Aaron speaks candidly about the ups and downs of life after service and why music became his outlet, his way of wearing his heart on his sleeve. Music is therapy, y'all. So definitely, and it can be medicine. So make sure that it's good stuff that you're taking in there. And yeah, that is fantastic stuff. The other side of the firewall. Cybercrime, human exploitation, and securing global events in 2026. The other side of the firewall podcast. In this, let's see, the latest cybersecurity news, including Ghana's crackdown on cybercrime, the cybersecurity challenges posed by the upcoming 2026 World Cup, and the NIST's evolving role in analyzing software vulnerabilities. For all you tech geeks out there that want to jump into something, the other side of the firewall is a great podcast. You want to jump into there. My goodness. It's 8 o'clock. I normally don't talk this much this early in the morning. And I've normally had like 3 cups of coffee by then. All right, chasing happiness. On this episode of Chasing Happiness, when life falls apart and you're asking God, why is this happening? This episode helps you find clarity in the chaos by uncovering your God-given purpose, even in the middle of the storm. Drawing from real struggles with anxiety, burnout, and loneliness, Ryan DeMent shares how drawing closer to God, serving others with your gifts, and building a Christ-centered community can transform your funk into a purpose-filled peace. That sounds like a fantastic episode, and one that we could all benefit from for sure. All right, and last but not least, rise up. Voices from the front lines. Chaos always comes. The real question is, will you hold steady when it does? On episode 17, they take a dive into the storms, the floods, the rescues, trafficking, recoveries, even the unity forged in the aftermath of 9/11, and shows how trauma-informed leaders anchor themselves and others when the seas rage. They'll talk about transparency in the fog, the dangers of withdrawal and overreaction, and why consistency matters more than charisma when everything else is falling apart. Most importantly, they'll explore how leaders can ground their nervous system so they don't amplify panic, but instead model calm that ripples outward. I'll tell you, that's a heck of a concept. You know, you think about it as a kid. If a situation unfolds and kids look to the parents and the parents are freaking out, the kids freak out. The kids don't even know why they're freaking out, but they do. But if they look to the parent and the parent's calm and collected, well, usually it takes a little bit. Kid doesn't get so crazy. Same thing with leaders, man. Whereas as human beings, you look to those that you respect. So yeah, that sounds like a great episode that's going to be out there. So go check that out. Rise Up, Life on Fire. Voices from the Front Line. All right, folks, that's going to do it. Let's get to the sponsors here. Now, I don't have a whole lot to say like Adam does on the sponsor, but I am going to mention these individuals. I highly encourage you to go Google them, check them out, support them where you can, because they support our platforms and they make it possible for the HMG to exist and all the great podcasts to be able to broadcast across this and reach you folks out there. So the great sponsors we have out there, of course, HMG Beverage. Go get you some. Kickstart is my personal favorite. Kickstart is the coffee. HMG, it's a sister organization to the HMG Heroes Media Group here. My Tax Fella. Go check him out there. I know he has been doing the taxes for Adam and helping with the HMG for many, many years. Forget Genetics. Go check those folks out there. We have Jim Neary's Live Bait and Tackle. That sounds right up my alley. I've never been there, but I already like Jim Neary, and I would love, when I get in that neck of the woods, I'm going to swing over there myself. Of course, they have Finn Tactical, a great supporter of the HMG, the Freedom People, and Green Valley Hunters Paradise. These are the sponsors for the HMG, and I apologize to those sponsors. I don't know you the way Adam does, therefore I don't know exactly what to say in those regards. But I do encourage, go check them out, Google them up, go check out the organizations, and if you can, if you have services that you need, definitely use these individuals here. They support the work that we do out here to help us keep things moving forward, so do what we can to help support them back. All right, folks, that's going to do it. Temu Adams' job is complete for the morning. I appreciate all of you that joined in and were chatting through this. That's awesome stuff. You guys rock for supporting us here through that piece. You know what? It's Friday. I'm going to share something with you here. This is something I keep on my phone. And it's something that I read every day. And it strikes to a chord in this. And so I want to read this for all of you folks that are watching this or listening to this, and make sure that if this can help you in some way as you lead into the weekend here. First off, the coach in me tells you finish strong. It's Friday. We're in the home stretch. We're about done here. Finish strong today. Okay? Meet those deadlines if you can. Give every bit of effort you have here, and then we got a weekend here. And as you go into this weekend, I'm going to leave you, it is a Bible verse I'm going to leave you with. It's Romans 15:13, and it says, "May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit." That's my wish for all of you out there. Love you guys. Appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate all the support you give all the great podcasts here and to the HMG as a whole. You guys are the reason why we do all this stuff out here, why the hosts continue to put stuff up, resources, and we're here to help where we can and to make those connections. You guys have a great weekend. We love you guys out there. I know Adam has his normal sign off. I've got mine as well. So we're going to get you a little bit of mine here that comes with this. Tight lines, which means good luck. Be safe means take care of yourself. Take care of each other, which means find ways to take care of your neighbor. And last but not least, that needs no explanation, God bless you. We'll see you folks. Take care.